What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about CleanSpark and Marathon, and we're going to talk about Bitcoin today as well. At the request of DB, you wanted to know kind of like in comparison to Bitcoin what these price actions could mean, essentially. I hope I'm phrasing that properly. You can see in the daily for CleanSpark we have a nice downtrend in the RSI. If I drew a line from here to here, maybe it's this top, the actual top. Yeah, you've got a nice like solid downtrend there in the price as well. That to me just feels like a bull trap. It looks like a bull trap top to bottom here. You tipped your 0.5, you're below your 382. I very much do think you're going to go lower. I very much do. The minimum expectation, in my opinion, would be $5.80, potentially down to $5.11. You could go lower than that. I very much do expect that. And we're going to go over why that makes sense in comparison to Bitcoin. In fact, I want to throw this correlation coefficient on real quick. If we do BTC USD, on Coinbase, apply, you can see that we're in a phase of correlation. Normally when we get to this level of correlation, we stay there for a while. We've stayed there for a little bit, but stayed there more or less, still above the 50, still correlated for a while. On a monthly basis, we are very correlated. So if Bitcoin goes down, I'm assuming CleanSpark would go down. And I just gave my targets as to where I think CleanSpark's going. I very much do think CleanSpark's going down relatively soon. Like over the month of February, for sure, it's going to be a red month. Nothing's for sure, but you can see also Marathon here having a pretty strong correlation, being rated like at 70, 71 right now. That's a pretty strong correlation. On the weekly, even more so. On the daily, very correlated. So if Bitcoin goes down, I would assume this thing goes down. We're going to finish up with Bitcoin as soon as I do some quick TA with this. I'm going to delete the correlation coefficient now, but looking at this, you know, top to bottom here, you hit your 1414. You broke below your 886. Now you're finding resistance at your previous area of resistance. That's not good, in my opinion. I do think that you go lower. You probably come down at least to your 618 is my thoughts. And that would kind of make sense. I think that would make sense. The 618 is at $13.46. If we take this here, let's say we bottom out. I think it's going to be sometime in March. We hit that line. That's like right around $12. So yeah, you could go a little bit below that 618. That's fine. Top to bottom here, relative low to high. Look at that, 1258. That's your 618, 69. Similar area there. That would make sense to me, man. I do think you're going lower relatively soon, like immediately. I doubt you break that high. I very much do doubt you break that high. Kind of a rejection here off your 50. Not looking good. Looking like you want to go down. And in fact, I think CleanSpark had that same thing. I might not have mentioned that. I know I mentioned the lower highs, but yeah, you rejected your 50 like to a T recently. With Friday's close. So looking at that now, looking at Bitcoin, if we look at Bitcoin's daily RSI, come on now, you can see that we are in a solid downtrend as well. Very solid downtrend. In fact, we just rejected the bullish area of control very recently, right, on January 29th. I do think that we have lower to go. I think that this is going to throw a lot of people off, but this kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders here. Right? You've got your left shoulder, you've got your head, you've got your right shoulder, right? And it might look better on a daily maybe, something like that, right? The expected target of this head and shoulders pattern, inverse head and shoulders pattern, would be on a measured move, would take you to about 50K. And I'm sure a lot of people are looking at this right now like, wow, this is beautiful. And it really is. It's a beautiful pattern. It looks perfect. Volume profile and everything, it looks perfect. But I can't help but believe that we're going down. If you look past that one thing, by the way, bullish patterns can break bearishly. And I'm going to explain even more as to why I don't think. I think that it's a psyop. I think that it's a fake out, a psychological play. It's Bitcoin being mean to people who don't know any better, in my opinion, or who just know the basics. And knowing the basics is good. You got to start there, but it's not enough, right? Experience really matters, because I've seen this kind of stuff plenty of times. I know there's other people who've agreed with me on this, who have seen this stuff plenty of times. Bitcoin likes to mess with you. Shout out to Smooth Operator on that note. Lower highs on lower highs, man. It just rejecting that the bullish area of control. It really does look like it wants to go lower, in my genuine opinion. This feels like a bull trap to me. Top to bottom here, the minimum requirement after seeing this kind of rejection off the 50 like this, off the 50 level, it's not expected to reject your 50 area, but when you are finding resistance like this, the minimum area that you would go to for support would be the 236, generally speaking. Likely though, you probably do get extensions, and I want to talk about why this wouldn't make sense to hold support, in my opinion, because again, if this were an inverse head and shoulders pattern and we do break it to the downside, which we can do, the minimum target, if we broke it, it would be here. The minimum target, or not the minimum target, the measure move would take us down to about 36.7K. And the 236 is up here, right? It's up at like 40K. So automatically, I don't think that we're going to hold that 236 as support. Yeah, almost 41K. I don't think we're going to. You know, bottom to top here, 37K right there. That's, you know, that's the 1272, 36.5K essentially the 1414, and below that is the 1618. I do think we're going to go down to 34.9K. I've illustrated that in a few different videos. I'm not going to go over it now. If you want to check my most recent video out for that, Bitcoin halving price targets, I made that on the 27th of January, so about a week ago. If you want to go over that as to why I think 34.9K is going to happen, it's a little bit more in depth in that regard. But mainly what I wanted to talk about is I do think Bitcoin's going lower. I think with the correlation we saw with Marathon and CleanSpark on the correlation coefficient indicator, that would lead me to believe that those stocks, as well as all other mining stocks, are going to go down as well. And the reason why this inverse head and shoulders pattern doesn't make sense to me is because inverse head and shoulders patterns are bottoming patterns. They're bottoming patterns. And I know that some of you might be like, well, it's the bottom of this move. This is not a significant move enough, in my opinion, to have an inverse head and shoulders pattern. It's a significant move up enough on a weekly basis. You can look to have a head and shoulders pattern, but we don't have that either, in my opinion. I just think we have a regular like distributive top, little fake out and break down to the downside, you know, a falling star, a shooting star, doji candle or whatever. I guess it's not a doji, is it an inverted hammer? I forget what that technically be, but you know, a head and shoulders would make sense here, but an inverse head and shoulders, to me, it just wouldn't make sense here. This is foul play on market makers, on just random coincidence, on people's psychology. It's not going to play out well for anybody who's believing this is an inverse head and shoulders. Mark my words. There are other things at play besides just the pattern. The RSI, again, is very bearish. Where we've rejected on the fib scales, not breaking above this 50, that is very bearish. You at least should go to your 61869, but there's probably so much attention there that we're not even getting there. The price is being front ran. There's people selling because they know what they're doing. Also, previous areas of resistance, that in themselves, based on price, you know, resistance areas here, resistance areas here, we're not even getting to the top of that. So absolutely, I think we're going to go lower. And again, I think that's not going to bode well for mining stocks. So really, that's all I have to say. If you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you'd like to see more. I do think that things are going down rather immediately. I think we're going to finally see this week turn red and progress lower. I don't think that we're going to see 34.9K immediately, but I do think that we're going to go lower. I was anticipating this week to open up green and then close red. We didn't close red, but next week we'll probably close red. If it opens up green, like, we're not going to take out that high. Same thing for Marathon. You're not going to take out the high that you've already put in. I think we are inevitably going lower, absolutely, for both of them. So that's all I got. Hit that like button, subscribe to see more, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.